Okay, everyone. Well, thank you for joining the National Coalition of 100 Black Women West Palm Beach chapter for our fourth annual virtual STEAM showcase, sponsored by Aerojet Rocketdyne. NCBW remains committed to advocating on behalf of Black women and girls to promote leadership and development and gender equity in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. Visit our website at ncbw-wpbchapter.org to learn more about our programming services. We are grateful to our experts today for sharing their expertise with Hope for Girls education and mentoring program participants. Today's presentation activities include greeting, creating new note cards, by Barbara Chiefs. Then we'll move into All You Need Is Your Phone with RJ Stevenson and conclude with Designing a Personal Logo featuring branding by Janiyah Reed. I'll now turn the program over to Sanjina Clay. Miss Clay?
Good afternoon. We are so pleased that you've joined us for Hope for Girls. I'm really excited to present three dynamic people in the areas of technology and the arts. First up will be a former president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women West Palm Beach chapter, Miss Barbara Cheese. She is currently the president and CEO of Converge and Associates Consulting. Her job includes training those of us who worked in law enforcement and public service in some of the most difficult topics ever to be addressed. And so we know that she has a way with people, especially since she has the ability to work with some of the most challenging individuals in the world and some of the most gifted individuals in the world. Above all that of her training, she's also a fiber artist who loves to share her excitement and life of cultural activism, as well as her love for artistic creativity. For that, she calls it aphrasia. It's my pleasure and my honor to present my friend, Barbara Cheese.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Sanjina. I'm excited to be here. This is a first for me to do these greeting cards live on Zoom. So this is great fun. Some of you may have picked up a kit to make your greeting cards. And if you did, that kit's going to have fabric in it. It should have some craft paper in it. And if you didn't, hopefully you have these things handy from home. A fabric of your liking, some craft paper, some markers to decorate our cards, a glue stick so that you could adhere the textiles to the cards, a pair of scissors to cut things out, and then lastly, a little bit of bling that sticks on so that you can embellish your cards. So when they're finished, they should look something like this. I have a couple of completed cards here. So this gives you an opportunity to use your creativity, and you could do whatever you please with the fabric that you have. So what you want to do, and you can combine them. You're not restricted to one piece of fabric. You can combine the different ones. If you got your kit, you have musical notes in your kit. You have little handbags in your kit. You've got butterflies in your kit. And you've got some shoes in your kit. And then you've got some funky stained glass looking fabric in your kit. So take a look at your fabrics, if they're from the kit or not. If you've selected your own fabric at home, just take a look at them and decide what you like. And you could either cut out the shape. In the case of the handbags, you could actually cut out each individual handbag. In the case of the butterflies, you could do same. Fabric that doesn't have a clear design on it, then you just start having fun with your scissors. So let's look at physical notes here. I would take this, and what you might want to do, I don't know what view you're looking at this in, but you might want to put it on speaker view so that you can get a better view of what I'm doing. So if you could, let's take the musical notes as an example. I may decide just to cut a little squiggly design out of them, I could cut them into another musical note for those of you who are really creative. I'm kind of a lazy artist. So I like the things like the handbags and the shoes, and all you have to do is cut out the shape that's on there, which is why I provided some of those for you in your kit. But I just took the musical notes just now and I just did a squirrely thing that made it actually just look like, what do we call those bars, Sangina? You're the music person. What do you call those 5 bars? I don't remember.
That's called a cliff.
Thank you. So you could just design it to make it look like the clip. You could do anything you want with the fabric. So is everybody on target to look at something that they have in front of them and to begin to cut something out? And again, you can either cut out, I'm going to cut one of the purses out now. These are some funky little purses. I actually like them. They look like real purses. One of them looks like the $15,000 Birkin bag. So I really especially like that one. So you'll just cut your design out.
Can you hold up so we know what we're cutting? Because I can't see.
Sure.
Oh, okay. You
I'm
do it
actually,
just like that?
yep, I'm actually just cutting out the purse. And now if you're really good with your scissors, you can cut inside of the strap. I don't trust myself to do that. So I'm going to cut around the strap of the purse so that I'll end up with something that looks like this. So there's your purse. So if you're really ambitious, you can go inside and you can cut the loop inside of the purse, but I'm not that kind of ambitious. So I'm not going to want my card to be boring. So after I cut out the purse, I'm going to go over to the shoes. And I'm going to pick one of these shoes that matches my purse. And I'm going to cut the shoe out. So you could put multiple shoes on one card. You could put multiple purses. You could put shoes with musical notes. You could put purses with musical notes. You could do anything you like. I will tell you that I've been making these cards for about 20 years. And I sell them to people and I send them to people because they're blank inside. So you can make them for any occasion you want and add your own greeting. And people love getting these cards. And imagine how excited they'd be if they knew you made it yourself. So I just cut out the shoe. So now I've got, if you'll notice, the purse and the shoe in the same color family. And that's going to be the basis for my first card. And there's several ways to do this. If you want to do these on any type of a regular basis, sometimes when I'm making a lot of cards, I'll just sit and cut while I'm watching TV. I'll just cut like lots of shoes and lots of purses and lots of shapes so that when I'm ready to glue, they're all done. So now I'm going to take this funky piece of stained glass looking fabric that I put in the kits and see what jumps out and appeals to me. So one of the colors actually I think blends well with my purse and my shoe. So I'm going to cut, actually just if you use this fabric, there's white dots all through the fabric that gives you lines to cut on. I've made this as simple as I could. So if you'll see, I cut one of the panels out of the stained glass type fabric. Now, I'm also going to want to add something because I gave you the paper in there, or you should have some paper of your own. And any kind of decorative paper works fine. You can get extremely fancy. I bought these in Joann's Fabrics. And it's in the scrapbooking area where they have all kinds of 8x10 sheets of paper and I cut them up. If you want to get really creative, on the cards that I showed you that I did earlier, if you look at the one here, the red paper on this one is actually from the art store. It's that rather fancy art paper and it comes in really big sheets. So it goes far. And when I use this paper, I tear it so I can get frayed edges. But with the hard paper, you want to cut it in any shape you want. So I picked up this orange one because I think it rather works with the other designs. And I just cut a triangle. out of the orange. Now, I would strongly recommend, depending on what surface you're working on, before you start working with the glue, that you put something down under like a sheet of paper. I just have a legal pad next to me because I'd hate to, I don't want you yelling at me when you get glue on your dining room table or your desk. So I
Those
would,
of us who need remedial training, could you hold up your paper again?
sure. I just cut a triangle, but you can cut anything your little heart desires. And once you get several shapes cut out, then I start trying to decide what I'm going to do with them. And there is no rhyme or reason to what you do. It's just what you like. So I'm sort of laying this one out to give myself an idea of what it looks like. So if you'll peek at me, I've got the paper, the stained glass fabric, one of the shoes, and one of the purses. And I just laid them out in any random design that you like. You know, any way you'd like it to look. And you can move it around because you haven't glued anything yet. So you can move it around. I realized that I didn't cut out enough of my shoe. I want the heel. I love these really high heel shoes. I wish I could walk in them. So I cut a little bit more out of that. And then you could just take it, keep your eye on overlapping them. You could put them completely on top of each other, like this. It's hard for you to see with my fingers, fat fingers in the way, but you can overlap things, or you can spread them out across the card. Any way you want to do it, that you think is aesthetically pleasing. I've decided that I want mine to look pretty much like this. So I've got the purse on top, the shoe on the bottom, and the fabric and the paper laid out. Do the colors have to match? Absolutely not. You can use colors that you just happen to think are in the same general family. There's no reason for them to match. And so it's actually gonna be a work of art once you've done with it. When I make these myself for sale, I sell them as frameable greetings. And I started calling them frameable greetings because so many people would say to me, "Oh, they're too pretty. I don't want to mail them." So I said, "Well, fine, you can frame them or send it to your friend and suggest that they frame it." So you've actually given them two gifts. They can use their greeting card as a piece of art once they framed it. And actually, I went to someone's home one day and I was really excited because she had bought a package of 5 cards and she put 3 of them together in one of those frames that fits 3 pictures in it, and it looked 3 5x7 pictures, and it looked so cool. I was quite excited. They were hanging in her hallway. So once you think you're where you are, anybody have any questions on cutting? Everybody got shapes going?
Yes, I got the shapes going. But Barbara, I will not be putting you out of business, okay?
I was thinking the same thing. I will continue to buy your cards.
Yeah, I don't think any of us will.
That's right. Clorinda, I still have to make your pink and green ones.
Yes, you do.
I do. I do this project actually with a group of homeless ladies at the Lord's Place. And every other Saturday I go work with them. And they sell theirs in the Lord's Place thrift store. So you'd be surprised how creative you can get. They find that they're so amazed because they always start out with, "I don't know what to do. I'm not an artist." And they do great cards in the end. So once you think you're where you are with your cutouts, you want to take your glue stick. And I got the wrong glue stick. I got that Elmer's purple turns clear stuff. I don't recommend it. It really does turn clear, but there's something wrong. There's just something that's just not right with seeing purple on my fabric first. So if you got your kit, I made sure that you all got plain white glue. The glue sticks are, you can buy all of this obviously any place. The glue sticks are everywhere. This is a great project for young people also. If you want to work with kids, it's a fairly inexpensive project. You can buy the greeting cards in any weight you like. The ones that I buy to sell are really heavy, really good weight that I get at an art store. These, the ones that you have, I bought at Joann's or Michael's or any of those places that sell crafts. So, you know, you can buy them anywhere. It's a good rainy day activity for kids. It's also a fun thing to do that's seasonal. With the ladies at the Lord's Place, I always make sure to buy them springtime fabric when it's close to Easter, or Christmas fabric, or red, white, and blue when it's Memorial Day or the 4th of July, so that people can, so they can make cards that are seasonal, and Christmas. One year I got really energetic and I made all my Christmas cards. So I actually made 125 fabric cards with Christmas stockings on some and Christmas trees on the others. You'll notice I said 1 year. At the following year, people said, "Oh, I missed the homemade cards." And I went, "That's nice," because we're not doing that again. So once you think you're where you are, you can glue your fabric, put the glue on the back of it. And if you picked up your kit, you have 3 cards in your kit. So you get to make 3 of these. And I just glued mine in really no particular order. And this is what what I got. So now I just did something very wrong. Let me explain to you what I did wrong. I just glued it upside down. So make sure when you glue the fabric to the card, you don't do it this way. My card doesn't quite open properly. So you want to make sure that you have the card, you glue it so that the card opens from the bottom. I did mine upside down. You still get the effect. I just can't use this card, unfortunately. Anybody glue yet? I hear.
Almost done.
I'll wait till you glue, till everybody's got something glued before we go to the next step. I love this age of Zoom. For those of you who don't know, I'm in Petersburg, Virginia today. And I still get to be there with you folks in Palm Beach County. I love it. I saw Rhonda pop on. She went away? Oh, yay. Excellent. It looks very much like mine. See?
Mine's going the right way.
I'm very happy. I'm so glad. I'd hate for anybody else's to be upside down. And the next thing you want to do, you can do it in either any direction you want, is to take your markers. And if I'm doing these again for sale, I use paint instead. I use paint and a paintbrush. You'll notice the ones I showed you earlier have big broad strokes of paint. So I paint them and then lay them out all over my living room until they dry, and they need to dry overnight. So that's why I suggested markers to you folks, so that you wouldn't have to wait for anything to dry. And you can do anything you want with your markers. You can just make squiggles, depending on how artistic you are. And I am not at all artistic with paint or markers. So that's why you see, I just basically do squiggly lines, nothing fancy. So I just took 2 colors and just did a couple of rows of squiggles on the cards. And then the last thing I do is I bling them out. And I always tell the ladies that I work with at the Lord's Place not to over bling. My rule when I work with them is no more than 5 pieces of bling per card, because they will bling the whole card and there'll be no bling left. So you just pick out whatever colors you like. They stick on, so you can put them any place you want on the card. You could use different contrasting colors. You can match the colors. Anything you like, and you can put them randomly, you can line them up. But once you have done bling and a little bit of squiggle, then you've got a completed card.
Oh,
Who else is crafting? I know 3 of you are. Anybody else crafting? You just have 3?
Like I said, I would not be putting you out of business. I'm still telling you.
Kind of takes us back to our childhood art class.
It does.
Didn't do well there.
Didn't do good in that one either.
Either, Clarunda.
That's funny. And you think about this. I'm just looking at the purses. Wouldn't these be fun purses and shoes? Wouldn't these be fun Mother's Day cards to send to people? And you can do. There's so many theme things. If you go into Joann's Fabric, into the cotton prints, there's toys. As I said, there's holiday. There are cooking things. They've got cartoon characters on some of them. In fact, for a while, they have sports theme ones. One year, some of you might remember, I used to make Christmas stockings. And one year I made the Christmas stockings from sports themes. So I had Miami Dolphin ones, even though I hate the Dolphins. I had all kinds of different sports teams until my pastor, who happens to be an attorney, informed me that I was dangerously creeping into copyright infringement and would probably get sued for selling $25 Christmas stockings. So I stopped using sports themes. Apparently you can buy those things to make things for yourself, but you can't sell it. So I stopped using sports themes because with my luck, somebody would give it to somebody who would turn around and sue me. That is not what I'd want. So you can't use the cartoon characters and things like that for sale either, but you can use them yourself to send to friends. And again, this is a really fun thing to do with young people, very young even. If you wanted to work with small kids that you didn't trust around scissors, what you could do is have them team with somebody, one person do the cutting and another person do the gluing, and then let the kids help to do the embellishment. Because they really enjoy things like that. And the beauty of it is, look at that, Clarenda, hold it up a little higher. Lovely.
A silent auction, you guys.
The shoe, the bag, and the butterfly. I love it. See? And yours are going in the right direction too.
We were listening.
Sanjina, how did my screen change from?
I highlighted Clarinda's because you were talking to her. It
Oh,
should be
okay.
back now. Just go back.
Other people's screens? I didn't know that.
My boss is on the line.
I am impressed. I did not know you could do that.
So you're showing off now, huh?
Trying to get a raise. Look at it.
She's good. That's funny. So you have plenty of fabric. I would look at, now that you've got one under your belt, look at what you have, decide which way you want to go next. I didn't use any of the butterflies in my first one, so I think I'm going to go butterfly for my next one.
I'm doing a butterfly as well.
I like the butterflies. I'm always attracted to the butterflies because again, back to my Lord's Place ladies, because I teach them how to do these, their motif at Burkle House, which is where they're living, is the butterfly, because they will be there and they will transform like the caterpillar to the butterfly, and then hopefully they will fly away and go on to lead their lives. So now, Sandra, you got me in the speaker view. I want the gallery back.
So Barbara, I have a question. When you purchase the fabric, do you buy half a yard or a yard? Or...
Yep, I buy half yard cuts. Hi, RDs.
Barbara, I didn't do that part. Go up to where it says view on your right.
I did it. I fixed it.
Oh, okay.
It was in gallery all along, but then when you highlighted hers, mine switched to speaker view. You hijacked my machine. Yeah, I go in when they see me coming at Joann's, I think they go running, because I'll go up with a cart with like 15, 20 bolts of fabric.
Yes.
For half a yard of everything. So that it goes fast, but goes long.
What about in the remnant section? Do they sometimes have a good section?
Occasionally. The only problem with the remnants is I can't always see what it looks like. You know how they roll up the remnants?
Yes.
Sometimes I can get an idea of what's in it. Yeah, I have bought in remnants before, definitely. Or in the quilting section with the cottons, they've got those little packets that are tied, like 12 pieces tied together.
Yes.
I've bought those as well. And use them. Now, if you for the people who are really creative, they buy those all over patterns and then cut out their own shapes. I'm not quite there yet. Some of the ladies that I have worked with at Burkle, one of them found stencils someplace, and at Christmas time, so she sat and cut out bells and everything from whatever fabric we had. Again, I'm not inclined to do that. I like to buy things that are already shaped so that I can do them.
So can you only use cottons?
I prefer, well, no, let me take that back. The cards that I sell, the Japanese ones are silk. Because I use pieces of Japanese kimono that I cut apart and reassemble. So, but I think cotton's easier to work with. Now, there's another way to do this. The ones that you see me sell, I don't glue. I buy fusible. I didn't want to do that for the purposes of this because I didn't think anybody would want to be in front of an ironing board and a computer. But I buy that heat and bond or whatever that fusible backing is. There's a lot of different ones. Heat and bond is my favorite. And I ironed it onto the back of like the whole half yard of fabric. And then I cut out my design. It's easier that way. It's actually easier to cut when it's bound like that, because now it's like more like cutting paper. And then I iron it on. So the cards that you've seen that I sell are not glued, it's iron on.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I do with the ladies as well. We have 2 ironing boards set up at the house when I work with them. And we just iron on the backing and then iron on the, what I have to tell them constantly is please don't cut your design until you've ironed the backing on the back, because then it's too late to cut the design out. Or it's too late to iron anything on. Like once I've cut this butterfly out, there'd be no way to iron the backing on. So that you want to make sure that they, if you do it that way, if you ever decide you want to do it that way, just iron a bunch of that back stuff on there. And you can buy that either in a bolt or they sell it on the Notions wall, like in a small 3-yard package. And the bling is fun to work with. You could also buy wording. If you go into the scrapbooking area, there's all kinds of letters and there's phrases, like you could buy happy birthday, you could buy get well, you could buy anything like that that's already made and just peel it on. If you have really great handwriting or you do calligraphy, you could write it on the card yourself. I always leave mine blank inside when I'm going to sell them because they're packaged and I don't want people to have to wonder what's inside. But you can write your own messages inside, or I'll give you another little hint. If your handwriting is pretty crappy like mine, you can go online And I will find, for example, a sympathy poem, or a sympathy or a birthday poem, print it out online, and then cut that out and glue it in the card.
Oh, okay.
So then you've just developed your own greeting card, and you didn't have to do it, because I have wasted more cards trying to write out greetings and then having to ditch the whole card. Oops. I'll tell Sanjina later. I do have a note, a note to self to tell Sanjina something later. I'm forgetting that we're out live. We're out streamed out to the world.
Thank you.
You should. You have to warn me of things like that. One never knows what's coming out of my mouth. So I'm on butterflies now.
So when I forgot my question. Tune in. Oh, I asked it about the fabric type.
Yeah, it could be, what you don't want is anything heavy. People donate fabric to me all the time because they know I'm going to be doing this. I can't always use it. Drapery fabric, things that are just really heavy don't work well. It'll weigh down the card. Things that with texture, a lot of texture on it, don't work well. So I find the cotton prints are just really easy to work with.
Barbara, is there a particular type of scissors that you use or brand that you use?
No, but I will tell you that whatever you use for these, only use it for fabric. If you remember as a kid sewing, as soon as you cut paper with a pair of scissors, it's gone dull.
That's why I had to get up. I had to get up to get my fabric scissors versus my paper scissors.
Because once you cut paper, you have killed the scissors. So that's because I do mine with the fusible stuff ironed on the back. I go through lots of scissors. I have lots of paper scissors that I then just donate to the ladies at Berkel, because once you start doing that, even with the fusible stuff on the back, it's like it's paper, so it'll dull the scissor.
Yeah, because I noticed as I was cutting, the fabric was beginning to fray, and I'm aware about the paper and the fabric because
Yep, those are the scissors you've used on paper.
yes.
Yep, it will fray your fabric. Now you can also get creative when you talk about fraying. I have worked with people that will intentionally fray the fabric.
Oh, okay.
If you want to make a fun design, what I do is take a straight pin or a needle and go along any place on the fabric except the selvage. You can't fray the selvage side, the piece that's bound on the end. But if you just take a needle or a straight pin and pull a piece of fabric, then you'll get, I don't have a needle up here with me. But I'm finding a place that I can pull from. And then you get a frayed edge, which is kind of neat. I don't know if you could see that. I just frayed a little bit of the edge of this one.
Oh, yes, I see it.
Yeah, so if you do enough of that, then you could just put it like along the bottom of the card, and it's kind of neat. I do like a 1/2 inch of it, and it looks kind of interesting, frayed on the bottom if you do that. There's lots of fun things to do with it as we get clever. Sometimes I use paper, sometimes I use no paper. I never use only paper because the whole thing for me is the textiles. I love fabric.
I like when you add the feathers to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't done that in a while, I don't think. Now that you've given me that idea, I have to bring feathers back.
Barbara, I have a question. Do you ever use your paper to cut out a pattern or to trace? You know, they have the tracing paper for your fabric. Do you do that to get certain designs?
Yep. If I don't, but you can. I was saying earlier, I'm lazy, so I will buy stuff like the butterflies so I can have to cut something out. or the shoes to cut something out. Because if you use like an all over pattern like this,
Mhm.
fun to do to do the cutout. Yeah. What I do in that case is I turn it over on its back and I
Mhm.
trace the design on the back side
Okay.
with a pencil and then cut it out so that you don't trace on the front of your fabric. Yeah, they have stars, even just circles and squares to do.
Right.
Yep. Yep, I have. And then I buy tons of the paper. I have a huge box of just fancy paper. Again, the paper that I put in your kits was just regular cardstock paper. But the one I buy is at Jerry's Artorama over in Okeechobee. And that's where I buy my cards also. The cards, if you ever want to do these with nice quality cards, like if you've ever seen my cards, they're by Swarthmore. And I buy them at Jerry's Artorama over in Okeechobee. They're really nice cards. They have the deckled edges. And usually there's a different color decaling, and sometimes it's just all cream or white. So I buy my cards there. Then you get a really nice envelope too that's deckled on the end. But I also buy the paper there, and they have the most beautiful homemade, well, not homemade, but made paper in the back. It's not cheap, but they're like poster size paper, so they go a long way. And again, when I use the paper, like on this card, this is one of mine, I just tear it so I can get all kinds of irregular shapes instead of cutting it. This paper, that's kind that I put in your kits, the cardstock you can't tear, you have to cut it. But for these, I cut. And this is also something interesting on this card. If you'll notice, it looks like there's two different fabrics. It's the same fabric. The gold and the green were different parts of the same piece of fabric. So I just cut the little wavy things out and then went back and used the rest of the fabric for that. And sometimes, like for this one, it was just a nice square. I didn't have to do anything with it. This is what I mean by the decal cards with the color on the bottom of it. Those are the ones that you buy in Jerry's Artorama. And then I like the paint also. I like the paint more than I like the markers. Or you could also buy, there are markers that almost have paint brushes at the end. So it gives you a wider line. When we did the squiggles, we didn't get much of a line. But if you buy the other markers, they flare out at the end. I bet Sonia knows what they are. And they flare out like little paintbrushes, and you could use that as well. Or calligraphy markers are cool if you know what to do with the calligraphy marker. I happen not to know what to do with the calligraphy marker.
Well, I join Clarenda in saying that I'll continue to purchase from you. Mine don't look anything like those that you made.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
They are. They are. You're being your harshest critics. Those cards are fine.
Hold it up again, Sanjina.
This is my
The one
first.
with the butterfly.
Oh, the butterfly.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
It is. It's the
Yes.
butterfly in the shoe.
Is that your first one?
This is my first one.
You ought to put a little frame on it and then set it around in your house to say, this is when I started it.
I think I'll send it to you.
Okay, all right. So now you will love stuff like that.
You should have her on. She would love doing it. For those of you who didn't get over to get your kits, you can still stop by anytime.
Okay, I think I will. I thought about having her to join, but I knew I couldn't be at the beginning.
Right.
But she loves arts and crafts.
Good. Pick up the kit. You'll have fun with it because the
I
fabric
will.
is very nice. So again, you can glue your fabric down. You can iron on your fabric. For trims, Clarenda was mentioning my feathers. I use cowrie shells. I buy beads in Joann's or Michael's. They have all kinds of bags of beads. But if you use beads or shells or any of that, or buttons would be cute. Don't use one that's really raised. And if you're going to do that, you can't mail it because your cowrie shell will get broken in the mail.
So how many did you say, the bling? You say you had a limit, you tell the
5.
lady, 5?
5. I give them a 5 bling limit, only because they would bling the whole card. Would you use 6, 7, 8?
I used the family, 2 families of cards.
2 families.
And where do you get the bling?
Joann's or Michael's.
Yeah.
And the bling
A
comes
lot.
it comes multicolored. They have pearls. They have real they have like what do you call them? Studs, like gold studs or silver studs. So there's all kinds of things. If you go by the bling though, and they also have strips that you can cut a strip of it, a strip of glitter. If you go to buy the bling, make sure you look at the package and make sure it says adhesive. Because I have gotten bling home and that you have to glue it with a glue gun. And that's, glue guns and I don't do well. I'll be in the emergency room trying to stick these little dots on with a glue gun. I'd be calling you to take me to the hospital.
So for the cowrie shells and things like that, do you just glue those on?
Glue gun. I glue gun. Yeah.
And the feathers you glue gun too?
Yep. A little dot of glue from the glue gun. I couldn't glue gun these, as I said, they're just too little. And the glue is a little warm. I laugh when I say calling 911. Many years ago, I cut my fabric for my scarves and things with a rotary cutter. And one night I was late at night, probably too late to be working. And I decided to put the fresh blade in the rotary cutter because I didn't like the way it was cutting. And my finger was sort of in the way. So this is how long ago it was. I had to call Valdez to come take me to the emergency room because I had almost severed my finger. I don't even want to tell you what she said to me at 1 o'clock in the morning between my house and the emergency room.
I noticed Bridget didn't show her card.
Yeah, Bridget, where's your card? Bridget's
I'm
not-
still perfecting my card.
I will show my card when I'm ready.
It's actually coming.
Okay.
Let's see.
Is that your first or your second?
This is my first one. No, this is my second one. This is my first one.
Put it in front of you. We just see the filter.
Can you see?
Bring it up.
I'm seeing that background.
Okay, you see in the background? Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. I'll just say it's beautiful.
Okay. And Clarissa didn't do a second one. Clarissa just stopped. She said, I'm not doing another one.
Oh, it's because of the scissors. I want to perfect my art, so I want to make sure my fabric is cut out properly.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go in business now.
You'll have to send me a picture of your completed one when you get new scissors.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm saving my third one because I'm going to make that one right.
You can also do tiny ones. There are ones that are half the size. Also, they're like the thank you card size or invitation card size. And those are fun too. You can do a little less fabric on it. Let's go. Well, it's 3 minutes to 2. I know you all have a 2 o'clock. So this was fun. I've enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. We have some new budding artists in the house.
That was fun. Thank you so much.
Of course. And for those of you who didn't get a kit, Sanjina has them.
okay.
Or if she runs out, I'm happy to provide you with another kit. I bought enough fabric, believe me, for a few more kits with my cuts. I'm going to go, folks. It's been fun. Enjoy the rest of the summit today.
Okay, and thank you, Barbara. So if you didn't hear, Barbara's sister cousin died, and she is there for the memorial service, but took time to help us out today. So we really appreciate you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Enjoy your family.
I will. Thanks a
Take
lot.
care.
Here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So our next budding artist is a technical guru, and he is currently the pastor of New St. Paul AME Church. I tease him often by telling him that he is my new supervisor, for I work for him on the technical end of things. So most of the things I know in terms of technical expertise is because of this young man. He honors me all the time by always telling me that I can adopt him if I want. But it's my pleasure to present to you all Reverend R.J. Stevenson, who not only is a pastor, but he's a community leader. During COVID, he turned his church into a computer lab so children would have access to computers and access to the internet. And he even has a garden on the property of his church where he provides vegetables to the community in general. RJ is just one of my most favorite people. He's a true talent. He's a trailblazer in music. He's a trailblazer in media. He's a trailblazer in ministry, and he's a techie trailblazer too. So RJ will tell us that all we need is our telephone. Go ahead, RJ.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. It's good to see 11, 12 ladies on a Saturday. I normally get to see them on Sunday mornings, so this is just an added pleasure for me. I left a group of guys called Bubba at my church today. They're doing some male mentoring, but I got two girls. My kids have been here in town with me on their spring break, and they left on the plane this morning. They're 14 and 10, two little girls, Jemiah and Olana. So I finally got my house back. So I'm glad to be the man of my house again. I was trying to participate with you all. I didn't get my kit. So I was gonna try to, this, I got my pens and my scissors. This the best I could do. To be honest with you, I got this thing of pens. See, it's full, cause I don't write. I do everything with my phone. But as they say, when you're in Rome, do like the Romans do. So here's a shout out to all you FAMU rattlers out there. I am not one of them, but I got good sense to know when I'm in rattler country to acknowledge all of those and the VCU university people as well. Listen, Miss Sangina has been getting me together here for about a year now. And these are the tools of my trade, right? First is my DSLR camera, all right? I got it. I don't leave home without my camera. It's always in my bag just in case, all right? In addition to that, I have this Sony Handycam 4K camera, all right? I do a lot of live streaming with this. And then I have this big monster, my Black Magic Pocket Cinema 4K camera.
Wow.
This is what we do a lot of our live streaming on. But all in all, the thing I use most on a daily basis is Object 1 and Object 2, my two cell phones. And I know y'all like, why you gotta have two cell phones? I honestly got tired of people. I'm an Android user by nature, okay? How many Android users are there? Lord have mercy. And that's why I got an iPhone, because I heard that y'all be interested in feeling some kind of way about your text message colors coming up a certain way. Y'all just need to get saved. Okay, so I thought, are there any young persons up here by chance? Any of the youth come on? Anybody here under my age?
Rolling, I'm under your age would be, yes, Dominique's under your age.
Oh, and she hate green bubbles. See?
And
She's a hater.
so is Janaea under your age.
Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. Hey Janaea, how you doing? Oh man, that made me feel so good. Y'all know, as a pastor, I get to look at people's names on the screen all the time, but they'll never show their faces. And I'd be like, are they really listening to me? Or are they doing something else? So it really helps me seeing people's face on the screen. So what I was going to do is show young persons how to do some interesting things with their phones. So now I'm going to switch up because it's best for me to speak to my audience, okay? I want to show you all a video to sort of remind you all of where we come from, okay?
You saw the message, I hate green bubbles.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm gonna pray for y'all.
Before cell phones, there were car phones.
Good morning, Miss McCardle. How did the market open?
In fact, the original car phone weighed about 80 pounds. In 1947, an engineer at Bell Labs envisioned a futuristic phone network for their car phones. A call would bounce uninterrupted between cells of coverage. At the time, the technology and the infrastructure for this did not exist, but it soon would. The car phones quickly became popular despite their limitations. Only a limited number of people could use the service at a time, which meant 5 to 10 year waiting lists began to form. And existing customers could sometimes wait up to 30 minutes to place a call. But then, in 1973, Motorola engineer Martin Cooper showed what the future would look like: the Dynatac 8000X. Based on Bell's cell network concept, it was the world's first handheld cell phone. 10 years and a $100 million investment later, Motorola finally released the phone to the public.
I'd like to order a large pizza with mushrooms, anchovies, and the hottest peppers you can find.
The decade-long delay was caused by the need to build the cellular infrastructure the phone required to operate. The phone took 10 hours to charge, lasted 35 minutes, and cost $3,995, which would be about $10,000 today.
Industry watchers say there are only a few thousand cellular phones in use right now, but that number is expected to grow considerably within the next few years during the cellular revolution.
Ahead of its time, the IBM Simon could be considered the world's first smartphone, the world's first touchscreen phone, and the first phone to have software apps. It cost around $1,099 new, which would be around $1,800 today.
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. But what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen.
Just 1 month after one of the most popular BlackBerry devices was released, the original iPhone hit shelves nationwide. It would go on to sell more than 6 million units, with new models introduced every year. The iPhone would forever change mobile phones, the computer industry, and technology forever. Today's cell phones are a far cry from the $10,000 Dynatac phone of 1983. And for many people, the phone feature has become one of the least used features. But in the future, phones could make another drastic change. The World Economic Forum thinks the first implantable phones will become commercially available by 2024.
All right, so How many of y'all can remember some of those models of them phones? I remember being a freshman in college at East Carolina University. For Christmas, my freshman year, I asked my parents for a beeper. And it took me 35 days to lose my beeper, and my parents turned around and bought me a phone. It was an AT&T phone on a Nokia phone. It didn't flip, it didn't turn, it barely beeped, but I was finally able to call my mama and daddy without them. Y'all remember them calling cards you used to have when you got yeah. I got rid of my calling card and started using my cell phone. A lot of work that I do has to do with, well, one of the things I do on the side, not on the side, but one of my other interests is combating human trafficking. So I wanted to use the cell phone today to show you all a feature that every phone has, but not many people are familiar with. Now, just to give you a warning, I used this feature one time when I was speaking for a CDMC event. I was a speaker for that day, and I used this feature. And as I was speaking, it seemed like everybody got really, really excited. And I was like, wow, I'm really, really doing a good delivery of this. Then I realized people were excited because the police had pulled up outside. My mama and everybody else I knew was trying to call me and find out where I was. And I'm getting ready to show you this feature. So how many of you are familiar with the SOS feature on your phone? All right, everybody got it turned on? What this feature does is it automatically alerts, I'm not talking about 911, it automatically alerts emergency services, that's fire, EMT, and police. It automatically calls the individuals on your contact list and let them listen openly to your speakerphone, and also sends out your location, your accurate location, and it refreshes your location every 10 minutes for 24 hours until you turn it off. And it also takes photos and videos of what's around your phone at the moment. You know what, Miss Sangina, I just recognized Miss Johnson. Hey, Miss Johnson, how you doing?
Miss Johnson, that's who helped me edit your anniversary video.
And so I wanted to walk you all through this just in case. This year, Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the Super Bowl champs, and also our city hosted the Super Bowl. What a lot of people don't know is that human trafficking is the highest in any location in the country during the Super Bowl. Because of the different events and different festivities that happen around Super Bowl, it draws a tremendous focal point of human trafficking to the area. When my kids got into town on Monday, the first thing I did was to take their phones and to make sure I had the SOS feature on their phones. They didn't understand why. You know, my kids have completely blocked me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I can't find my kids nowhere. That's what they think. That's a whole nother class called parenting in a social media world. Okay, but what I did was I took their phones and I activated the SOS feature. And that's because it takes a matter of seconds for a person to disappear. I don't know if you all have seen the Liam Neeson Taken videos or movies. It literally happens that way. Living here in Tampa, going down 7th Avenue or Ybor City District, as some of you all may know it, this kind of stuff happens on a day-to-day basis. And when I tell you, being a part of the human trafficking prevention team this year with an organization out of Chicago called Rahab's Daughters, I had a eye on, like, real in my face opportunity to see it happening live in front of me. My church is a co-working space and computer lab for kids. And when she said my church, ain't but a few pews and some chairs and stuff in my church. So that's all I got. So my whole church, I mean my sanctuary, is a computer lab right now. But during November, from November to February, my church was a 24-hour call center for human trafficking. We set up a safe house in St. Petersburg, and we did what we could for the organization. People came from all over. But this thing that I found out about the SOS feature on our phones was a lifesaver in a lot of those circumstances. And so from then on, I started making certain that everybody, especially young ladies, were able to activate this feature on your phones. All right. So I want to show it to you. Y'all want to see it? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna show it to you. So I'm gonna use my phone, and I'm going to share my phone screen with you. Again, I don't write, so this is something that I do on a regular basis. And I'll share it with you now. Miss Sanjay, you know how to share your phone on the screen?
No.
All right, here we go.
My boss hasn't taught me that yet.
All right, here you go.
Reverend Stevens, is that only a feature for those who have Macs?
No, ma'am. So this feature is something I'm doing directly from my cell phone to the screen, and ain't got nothing to do with my computer. So I'm using Android right now, and then I'm gonna turn around and do it on my iPhone. So either phone can do it. On an Android phone, especially if you have a Samsung, it's called Smart View. And you link your phone to the same Wi-Fi that your computer's on, or that your television's on, and it'll make your phone screen come on your TV. All right, and then on your Apple device, it's called screen mirroring. So you swipe up from the bottom left-hand corner, and you'll see a button that says screen mirroring, and then you get to select whatever screen you want to mirror it on. Okay. Can y'all see my cell phone now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I use my phone for business, so I don't have no games and all that kind of stuff on my phone. So that's why my background, my wallpaper seems sort of drab. It's not because I'm an uninteresting person. It's just,
But now what we see is the history of the telephone. Is that?
Oh no, that ain't
It's
right.
your next, yeah, it's the YouTube video suggestion.
Oh, they doing me wrong. Hold on.
That's what you get for bothering me.
No, that's what you get for having an Android phone.
Ooh, y'all be nice.
That's what he gets.
What you see now?
Nothing.
See the history of the phone again?
No,
It's the Zoom call.
The Brady Bunch squares.
They're sharing the wrong window.
Bet if you did it on your iPhone, you could do it faster.
Lord have mercy. Help me, Jesus. All right, let me do it again. Man. All right. It's not gonna let me do it. So this is what we're gonna do. How many of y'all got Android phones? Nobody? Fine. You like that. All right. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna swipe up from your the bottom right hand side. and you're gonna go to your settings. No, you're gonna go to the iPhone Health app. See the Health app on your screen? Now y'all know y'all should be using this iPhone Health app. Y'all got it?
Yep.
No, excuse me, I don't, what, you said scroll from the bottom up, but I don't see.
Just go to your app screen and pull up Health.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody got to put your hand up. That's how I know the folk at my church get it off.
Go to your app where you purchase your apps and put help screen.
No, the iPhone Health, the Health app should actually already be installed on your phone.
Okay.
If you swipe to the left until you get to the screen that looks like the cartoon characters, like this. If you just keep swiping until you get to that.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, now look for the white block with a heart in the center. It's a white box with a red heart in it.
Okay, hold on.
And it'll the
yes,
box.
I got it. Okay, I got it.
All right, so open your Health app. Once you do, you'll see hopefully your picture in the top right-hand corner. You don't see a picture in the top right-hand corner? If you don't see a picture in the top right-hand corner,
I don't have a picture in.
So y'all ain't never used your profile before.
No, I have my profile set up, but I don't have a photo.
So here's what you do. You see something under there that says medical ID?
Yeah, say emergency access to medical ID.
Yeah. Click on that. Make those permissions.
Okay, wait. I see the summary and highlights.
Okay, so you've used yours before.
Tracking.
So in the top right-hand corner, do you see a picture, Ms. Johnson?
No, I see a little bell. No. It says, welcome to the new health app.
Oh, so you're just not setting it up. Okay, no problem.
I want you to know, man.
I'll get my daughter to help me set it up.
All right.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to get to the screen that has your profile on it, and you want to click where it says medical ID.
Okay.
And here's mine if you can see it. It shows you that it shows my birth date. It shows that I'm an organ donor. I gave my father a kidney back in 2002. And it shows my blood type. It's got my weight, my height, and all of that other information. If you have allergies, if you're on any particular kind of medication, all of that information can be located there in your medical ID.
Okay.
And then under that, it has your medical contacts. So I got my mama down as my emergency contact, right? Because she gonna answer the phone. Some of us need to put Jesus down because ain't nobody else answering. All right. So what happens is if I press my side key or my power button, now however you got your side key set on your phone, if I press my side key 5 times, it's gonna call 911. While it calls 911, after I get off the phone with 911, it's gonna send a text message and a phone call to my mother, and it's also gonna start taking pictures and recording everything that's around me. It's also gonna send her in that text message my location. So once she clicks on that location, she'll be able to have my location shared to her phone, and it's gonna update every 10 minutes until somebody turns it off.
So do I have to be in the app for that to work?
No, once you set the app up, all right, you can have it so that your emergency contact information comes up on your home screen. And so that way, regardless, yep, she's got her right there. So that way,
Excuse me, sir, which buttons you say you press? Is it on the left side or the right side to activate your location?
It'll be on your screen. It'll ask you once you're setting it up. It'll ask you to open your location services.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
You got it, Clarinda, because Dominique had hers up. You could look at the screen and see.
I noticed they track the steps that you do a day.
I use that one. We're doing that now, Ardis, the whole chapter.
I'm not doing that. that's less I have to worry about every day. Okay.
You got it, Clarinda?
Wow, it has so much stuff on here.
So the health app also helps you to keep your health records. So if you go to your doctor's office and you type your notes in from your doctor visits, it'll help you keep your health records there. It'll also help you to register for organ donation and all of that. And then it allows you to export all of that data. So even if you're using a Fitbit or another kind of counter, your iPhone app itself is still a good tool to use to keep up with all your health related situations. But I normally keep this on in terms of my medical ID. So I have to, but here's the difference between the iPhone and the Android, right? On the iPhone, I gotta press my side key 5 times. On my Android, I only gotta press it 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, that makes a big difference.
So,
That's because little boys use those and little girls use those, and they can't press 5 times. They can only count to 3.
Lord have mercy.
I'm done.
I might preach about you tomorrow.
I'm gonna tune in.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to show you on your phone.
Excuse me, sir. I did have my hand raised. Just a quick question. When purchasing a new phone, will that information transfer when they download to your new phone? Will all the health information also get downloaded or transferred if you buy a new phone?
So once you log in your iCloud account to your new phone, that information, all of your pertinent information transfers from one device to another.
Okay.
Now, if you go from Apple to Android, it's not gonna happen. In the Android world, we use our Google Cloud and our Google accounts. So if I go from Android to Android and I use my Google account, it will transfer. Because I use Google as my iCloud account, if I log into another iPhone with my Google account, it'll transfer over to there as well.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So now be careful who you put down as your emergency contact. Because individuals who, I would not suggest you put anyone on your your medical ID emergency contact who is not phone savvy. Because I've seen some situations happen before where the other person sends out the location for the person who is under emergency contact, and it didn't go too well.
What do you mean? Don't put somebody who is not phone savvy.
So here's a scenario, right? A girl is dating a guy. The guy's number is on used to be on their emergency contacts. The guy is no longer on the emergency contact. So now the girl does the emergency contact to get away from the guy. Sends the emergency contact to the mother, who turns around and texts the contact information to her favorite, which was the guy. Okay, so you got, based on the situation and circumstance, you got to be careful about who you choose as your emergency contact.
And also, it's probably good to make sure, like my husband, for an example, he's not as savvy as I am. So I'm in an emergency. He probably wouldn't even know to look at it because he hardly ever looks at his phone. So I would probably need to use my daughter or someone like that that I know is gonna pick up the phone.
Yeah, my mother was like that. She said the phone was for her convenience, not mine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, like that's why I start this presentation with the video about the history of the cell phone, because I remember my mom and dad walking around with them Radio Shack bags, and and only a few people had 30 minutes a month on them big walkie-talkie phones. And for a lot of people, that's their reference for a cell device. Prior to moving to Florida, I was in higher ed administration as a vice president of a shorter college in North Little Rock, Arkansas. One of the problems that we had in trying to innovate school technology was we were going from paper books to digital books to ebooks. Well, we couldn't get the students to understand that the iPads were supposed to be books and not games. All right, that's some of the same problems that teachers are having with virtual school right now, because kids are used to seeing their cell phone as a social media device. They're playing Call of Duty on their cell phone, and when they're choosing between doing their classwork and doing whatever they've been doing, it's hard to recondition them to see their cell phone as a device that's used for education when they're normally using it for educational purpose. For entertainment purposes. But when my kids were here, that's one of the conversations that we had about all they really needed was their cell phone. And so, RJ takes all excuses away when I start talking about, if you need help with your homework, well, what app are you using to use to help you with your homework? And my kids are telling me, what app are you talking about? And I'm like, have you ever used a calculator app? Because when I was in college and high school, we used these TI-81 and TI-82s, right? Well, now the calculator function on most Android and iPhones are just as, if not more technical than the TI-81 and TI-82 we used to use in program. So literally, there is no excuse for anything, that my kids would tell me about why they're not doing their work. Have any of you all used the measuring feature on your phone?
Yes.
I've used the calculator, but not the measuring.
So you can use the measure feature on your phone and never have to use a tape measure again. I mean, you can measure doggone near anything. I mean, all you have to do is use your measure app, and then you move your phone from one place to another, and it'll tell you how far or how long something is, or the distance between one place and another, just by using your measure app on your phone.
Wow.
Repeat that one more time. I need that.
You have it, Bridget. It came with the
Can you
phone.
tell me where to find it?
It's the measure app right there under
It
utility.
looks like a tape measure.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
right.
never knew what it was.
And you use that measure app, and you can take it from one side of the room to the other side of the room and measure the distance from one point to another.
Thank you.
Normally, besides your measure app, is also another app that people don't normally use called Compass. I used to be I was the second lieutenant in the military, and a lot of times using Compass, if you hike or fish or boat or any of those kinds of things, using Compass to help you get back to where you need to get to. There's also something on your phone should be on your phone called Translate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
So I have Hispanic families that live in the community where my church serves. All right. Translate helps me as a pastor to pastor those families. When we're doing bags of blessings and putting out food boxes in the community, I don't feel bashful about walking up to their house and not knowing what to say. I use my app on my phone to make certain that I can translate what I'm saying to them, and then they speak back into it and it translates to me, and it bridges the gap of communication, even though we don't necessarily know how to speak fluently in each other's language. The phone will do that for you. Now I know everybody uses Cash App and Venmo and Zelle and all that, right? Well, did you know that you can print out statements from Cash App and give those to your tax preparer? Hint, hint. Now, tax preparer don't really like statements from Cash App, but they can use them if they choose to do the additional work they got to prepare them that way. Another thing that you can use on your phone that a lot of people don't really use as much is the screen mirroring function I was talking about before. So I'm often in circumstances like this. Oh wow. Yeah, my phone just told me that somebody entered my church. I'm also in situations like this where I don't normally have the ability to log into someone else's projector if I'm doing a presentation. So screen mirroring is something that would definitely help you. So the way you do that is anybody in a room with the television? All right, you know how to screen mirror, Miss Calvina?
I am.
All right. So make certain that your phone is on the same Wi-Fi network as your television.
How do you do that?
Well, you have the 2G and the 5G, right? Make sure that your phone and your TV is on the same one. Because if your television is on 2G and your phone is on 5G, it's not gonna work right.
So like when I do church service and I plug in the HDMI, I don't have to do that. I can do it wirelessly.
With your phone.
Dominique, why you didn't tell me that?
Well, you can also do it with your iPad, which is what
she
usually does when she's at your house.
Oh, she plugs in at my
She
house.
plugs in when you tell her to plug in. But when you don't tell her to plug in, she just does it from the iPad. We do it here all the time.
I never knew that. Wow.
Okay.
I'm taking notes now.
So all you do is swipe up from the bottom right-hand corner, and you'll see. And I suggest you unlocking your rotation button, your screen rotate button,
Hold on.
and you'll see the screen mirroring button.
Yes.
Dominique,
so it's the same as if I were doing a presentation.
Right.
Oh.
You don't have to plug into the HDMI, as long as there's a smart television.
Mm-hmm.
So you click on the screen mirroring, and then whatever's on your screen, on your phone screen, shows up on your television screen.
So does that work like in presentation rooms for conventions and stuff?
As long as what you're showing it to connects to the Wi-Fi, it'll work.
So if I were in the Rosen Center, in the ballroom, well, why y'all just telling me this?
If you're on the Rosen Center ballroom's Wi-Fi.
As long as whatever device they're using for projection is connected to Wi-Fi, you can connect to the same Wi-Fi and share.
And where is
Apple devices actually do a whole lot easier called airplane.
the airplane mode?
No. So AirPlay allows you to show.
Oh, AirPlay. I know AirPlay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you had an Android device, there's a feature with Android devices called DeX, where my phone actually becomes a computer, and it'll share my phone screen on any screen wherever, and then my phone becomes a keyboard. That's something that Apple devices just don't do. But we do.
I tried to lay off you. You're gonna get me going again. Because there is a feature that does that on the iPhone.
Really, what is it?
Pages.
No, it ain't the same.
Okay.
So when I say my phone becomes a computer, like full-blown Microsoft Word launches from my cell phone onto the screen.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions about using cell phones that I can answer for you?
Okay, so I have a question. So I want to go
Sure.
back to the screen mirroring.
Okay.
So apparently I need to figure out what my code is for it's telling me AirPlay code, enter the on-screen code for your Roku streaming stick.
Right. So then you need to have Roku on your television, and when you do the AirPlay mode, you'll see a code that'll come up on the screen. Almost like you do sometimes, like now during COVID, if you go to a hotel, normally they don't have a remote control for you. They have a QR code that
Right.
you scan on the QR code, and your phone becomes the remote control, and you have
Okay.
to type those numbers in. Same thing that you're trying to do with your phone and your Roku device.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited.
I figured this would be a lot more usable with y'all than teaching y'all about in private scrolling and phishing and using Vault and all that kind of stuff that kids use.
Well, I want to know about that too. So maybe I need to set up a tutorial with you because I work with children.
Okay. Yeah, if you're working with children, I teach this class called Parenting in the Social Media World. When you look at a kid's phone, I hope they don't think I'm snitching, but if you look at a kid's
They're none on here.
Okay.
No, we
A lot of
live
time,
on Facebook.
say it again.
We are Facebook Live.
Okay. If you look at a kid's phone, a lot of times the apps that you're seeing on their phone is not actually the app that they're using.
Right, right. I do know about that.
There's an app called Vault that allows kids to hide information in their phones that you would not be able to see yourself.
Yes. There are two of them, 2 or 3 of them, right?
In addition to that, there's private browsing on internet browsers. So in Google Chrome, it's called an incognito window that is not traceable by history. So, I used to grab my kids' phones and go through their phone history and not see nothing. And I'd be like, oh, you've been so good, until I found out about incognito windows. So incognito window is an alternate window that does not record any browsing history.
Interesting.
What was the first thing you said that kids can hide their information? Did you say Vault? VOL?
It's called Vault.
VOLT or VAULT?
VAULT, like a bank vault.
Okay.
Will that icon be on their phone that you can see it?
You can see it, but unless you're them, you can't get in it.
Okay.
A question.
Yes, ma'am.
We're considering giving my little granddaughter, who just turned 10, iPhone, but she's going to have her phone connected to my plan. Will I be able to see everything that she's doing, or she's going to be able to maneuver using the Vault?
So the answer in theory is yes. The answer in reality is no. Even though she may be connected to your device, you may be even on a family plan that allows you to see her phone calls and her outgoing text messages. There's also an app called WhatsApp.
Yes, I know that.
WhatsApp does not register to your regular phone bill because it's done over Wi-Fi. Okay, there's no way to track WhatsApp outside of the actual application itself. In addition to that, you got to be careful about kids who have multiple Facebook, Instagram, and social media accounts. My daughters blocked me on their social media accounts. So when I go to social media and I see their name, they have one account that is squeaky clean and everything that mommy and daddy would love to see their kids do. And they have another account that's their other name, and that's the stuff that they don't want you to see. Church folk got them kind of accounts too. They don't let their pastors know about them, but somehow the Lord speaks and It pops
And a
up.
lot of church pastors have them too.
You're right. When I say church folk, it's inclusive. So one thing that you can also know is in Facebook Messenger, you got to be careful about hidden messages with kids, because there's a way in hidden messages that you can hide your messages that are coming through the Messenger app, and when you're looking on a regular screen, it'll never show up unless you know how to go into the hidden messages.
Does someone on the other side of hidden messages involved in incognito monitor what they see to alert parents who have a family plan if there's something that's troubling with
No,
the
ma'am, because cell phones were never designed to be used by kids. Cell phones were designed, like when I was growing up, there was no way in the world my dad is gonna let me get to his 30 minutes that he had per month on that cell phone. Now, because information is readily made available for our children, we allow kids to have cell phones, hoping that they're gonna be responsible and mature with the device that we give them. But that access can often be to our detriment, because there is really no way for us to know what's going on with our kids. Matter of fact, watch this. A lot of us want our kids to put headphones on to listen to their music so that we're not interrupted. But it's the music that they're listening to through those headphones that is influencing their decision making, influencing their life processes on a daily basis. And a lot of times, if parents are not actively engaged with checking their playlist, with checking what's going on. My kids used to watch this kid named Marty. His first name was Marty, his last name was something else. And this kid would take like music that was Rihanna and Beyonce and make it kid friendly, right? Well, after you watch a couple of his videos, the next recommendation is going to be the videos that I don't want my kids to see. And so you really, as a parent, you can't imagine that just because you have parental settings set on your television or parental settings set on your mobile devices, that your kids are not still having access to these other things. And it's not always their immediate desire to get access to it. It is just the world that we live in, that it exposes them to things beyond what we can do unless we really do a good job of monitoring them as parents and grandparents and loved ones.
How often do you do your parenting class? Or when is the next one scheduled?
Whenever Miss Sangina tells me that she wants me to do one.
Oh, okay, thank you.
She said I'm her boss, but she
okay.
We can do that, certainly. I think a lot of us would benefit from something like that.
I love to do it. And then you also know that, you know, there's a lot of predatory activity happening on social media. This new phenomenon of Clubhouse. You know, there's so many ways that people have access to you now, and not just with predatory stuff, but with identity theft. It's the more information is made readily available, the more you have to do to intentionally secure yourself and protect your life from other things that could really come and take advantage of your situation. So anytime I could come back and provide any additional information for you, I'm not on the cybersecurity end of things. I'm more on the user end of things. But I was teaching a class one day to some pastors, and as a pastor, I do my best to encourage people to use technology. Definitely now in the age of COVID, where if it had not been for Zoom, I've been using Zoom for years. I never would have thought I'd be using Zoom for church. I mean, it's not efficient, but for some people, that's the most effective thing that they have. But you know, finding access and being innovative in how we use the technology has become something that's really changed the way we do life. And I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Even after we're able to be able to manage COVID on a day-to-day basis, I don't think the way that we do work in life is going to shift. I know people who don't even go to Walmart or to the grocery store anymore. All they do is pick up their phone and order whatever they want to, and it comes to the door. And now it's not even real people singing stuff to your door. It's the drones flying your stuff to your house and dropping it off. So, you know, I remember when I was growing up, they used to tell me about how people were going to be replaced by robots. And if you think about it, everything we see every day leads to us needing to find new ways that we as human beings can be more influential and necessary for all the stuff that we do. There's a company right now that even allows, helps churches to do their live streaming without any personnel in the building. You put up your robotic immobilized cameras in your church, and they tap in and produce your stuff from wherever they are, and not even be in the room. So, you know, it's if you're still sort of interestingly feeling about technology and not really wanting to know what you have in the power of your hands, be careful about 5G technology. Most of us feel like, y'all got 5G in West Palm Beach?
Yes.
Most of
I have
us
5G on my iPhone.
Oh, well, most of us feel like 5G helps us better communicate, but there's a lot more to this 5G technology than they're really exposing to the general market, including a lot of identification stuff. So for those of you who use your thumbprint to log in and out of your phone, no longer did you have to go to the police department to use your ink stamp for them to have your ID, because Google owns anything that you put in your Google phone. If you go back in your Google phone or Apple or whatever, if you go back and read your terms and conditions, any of the information that you put in your phone belongs to that third party. So, you know, Google was never in the business of providing the internet. They're in the business of capturing information. Did you hear what I said? They remember, Google is not your internet service. If Google was into you having internet service, they would be your service provider. Google is interested in capturing what you put on the internet. So right now, Google is no longer putting out any more machines. They're really phasing out a lot of their equipment, because what they're doing is putting data mining centers in every state across the country, because they're interested in capturing your data. That's why a lot of people have started to put their those little devices that hide the camera on their phones and their laptops. That's a real situation. If y'all remember, I got a Google Mini in my house right now. Sometimes you can ask questions or in your household, just talking to anybody other than Google or Alexa, and the machine will respond to you. Like if you're in your house and you say something like, "Ouch, stop hurting me," your device will respond to you. Okay, so your device is not just activated whenever you say a particular word or a particular phrase. Your device is activated off of your voice. So yeah, be careful. And if I could do anything to help provide more information on this subject matter, I'd love to have the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Reverend Stevenson. We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure the ladies are going to want you to come back. So
Oh, yes, yes, please.
And thanks for keeping me employed.
Wow.
Our next speaker is Janaea Reed. And Janaea is a graduate of Mount Holyoke and currently working on a master's at American University in Washington, D.C. She's an experienced designer, and her designs include apps and websites for computers. And so, Janaea, we say welcome and thank you so much for teaching us today.
I'm so excited. Hi, everybody. So I'm Janaea, and I am a user experience designer. Today, the plan is to take you guys through a quick logo class and give you some information about sort of like branding and design and what goes into the design industry. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. And then we'll get started. So bear with me, the slides are very bright, but hopefully they capture your attention and keep you guys engaged. So just a general overview of the plan for today. Just going to give you an introduction as to kind of like my role specifically, and then some other roles that we have in the design industry. We'll talk about like what a logo is, why it's important, the steps that go into it, and then we'll have a quick activity to kind of create our own personal logos. Really just want you guys to have fun, ask questions. So one of my favorite things about design is it's just a very collaborative process. So we're all working in a room together. We're always bouncing off ideas, like nothing's too much or too little. So I really want you guys to just ask questions as I'm going through. And yeah, hopefully learn some few things. So to get started, I'm a user experience designer, and I don't know if, has anyone ever heard of a user experience designer? No? Okay, so my role really is just to make sure that when someone goes to a website or an app, they have a good time. And when I say good time, I mean like they're not confused. So sometimes have you guys been on an app or a website and you're just like, what is going on? Like I can't find the page that I need to get to. I don't quite know where I need to go to get the thing that I want to do. My job is to prevent you from having those sorts of confusions. So I work really closely with the client to talk about kind of like what's their goal for the website, what's their goal for the app, and then who's going to be using the app. So is it for an older audience? Is it for a younger audience? And all these things matter because they go into the designs that I suggest be added to the website. One thing about user experience design is that there's a lot of studies that go into like our behavior and how we engage with our phones. So for example, if there's a website that has a lot of text, I'll say, hey, maybe you don't want to have really text heavy pages. Maybe let's bullet point some of the information that you want to share because it's easier for people to scan lists rather than read a full paragraph online. So it's those sorts of suggestions that I'll give. And there's a ton of activities that go into my job. So we'll do a lot of interviews, we'll do a lot of research, a lot of testing and asking a lot of questions. And then there are a bunch of other design careers. There's graphic designers. So they're more so in charge of like what the exercise we'll be going through today, like making a logo. I'm kind of like at the architect stage. So kind of like how an architect kind of like sketches the foundation of a house. A user experience designer is gonna like sketch the foundation of your website and the components that need to go on your website. And then a graphic designer is gonna make it pretty and add all the colors and have it be something that people feel good using. Then there's product designers, and that's just like the designers on the Facebook app or the Instagram app, and then web designers who kind of like design website. So this is not by at all like the list of all of the roles, but it's just a few, just so that if you ever hear any of these terms, you're aware. So before we get started on the logo, I wanted to kind of take it a level up and just talk about branding. So a brand is like a feature or set of features that kind of distinguishes your product from the other. And it has a bunch of different components. So you'll have like your logo, you have like your tagline, you have your website, maybe your letterhead. And it's important because it's the reason why we can distinguish McDonald's from Burger King besides the name. Like, you know, they're both fast food, they both do burgers, but they have completely different brands and they send a completely different message. And so that kind of goes into sort of like the brand identity. And so the brand identity is just like, what's the personality of your business? Like, what do you want to communicate? What are the values that you share or you hold and that you want people to feel as they're in your establishment or on your website or using your app? And so brands spend like companies spend a ton of time sort of coming up with this because you really want people to sort of connect with you. And in order to build that connection, you have to be authentic and sort of like what you put into your brand guidelines. So one of the things that goes into a brand is your logo. And just to keep it simple, like a logo is a symbol made up of text and images that represents your company. And so I think when you think of some of your favorite stores, sometimes like the name comes to mind, but there's also like a picture associated with that. And generally it's a logo. So I have this next slide here, and I don't have any names, but I'm sure that you guys can all recognize most of these logos. If you want to shout them out, you can. But I thought it could have been even a great exercise to do it in reverse and just put the names of each company, and you would have been able to sort of conjure up the image, and that's their goal. They want you to be able to quickly associate their name with an image so that it kind of lasts longer with you. So we have Apple, we have Snapchat, we've got Target, Starbucks, Twitter, Pepsi, Nike, and McDonald's. And each of these logos evokes a different emotion and tells a different story. So yeah, this is just more so going through like McDonald's, they have their logo and they also have their tagline. So it's I'm loving it, and they have the golden arches. Target, it's literally a red Target symbol, and it's expect more, pay less. Nike, just do it. And you have the check mark, which is meant to evoke like movement, because you know there's a lot of athletic apparel. So why are logos important? It tells your story. I think that people really want to know who you are, but at the same time, you need to be able to separate yourself from your competition. And it helps you quickly communicate what it is that you do. Another thing that's important with logos is that you want people to also be able to quickly recognize your brand to set you out from others. So if you're on a shelf with a bunch of different sodas or products, your brand can capture someone's attention quickly. So you want to make that strong first impression, and that can help foster this sort of like brand loyalty. So someone's always going back to this product because they recognize it, they relate to it. And also on top of logos, it's the foundation of your entire brand. So once your logo is sort of complete, it's going to be used everywhere. It'll be used on your business cards, on your websites, letterheads, anything that you produce on behalf of your business. Your logo is going to kind of be like the center point. So one of the fun things that goes into design is that everything sort of has a meaning. And we'll start with colors. Like one of the things that we're taught is that colors have meaning. And so when you're creating your brand or you're creating a website or you're designing something, the colors that you use are going to be really important. There's a sort of like art and science to how people see colors. And certain colors evoke certain emotions. And so you want to be careful with the colors that you use with your product, because you don't want to have a really serious product, but then use like light colors because people might not take you as seriously. And so I have this list here that just shows you like when you see something that's red, it's a bit more exciting. It's like attention grabbing. When you see something that's orange, it's a little bit more friendly. Optimistic for yellow. Peaceful, you think about like nature, being in trees. It's kind of like where the green comes in. Blue is a bit more dependable. Purple for creative, and gray is like calm. Another thing that goes into design, specifically logo design, is your typography. So this is kind of like the text, like how the text you use looks specifically. The same, similar to colors, it also evokes a certain emotion. And I have a slide here that kind of, there's tons and tons and tons of fonts. But this slide here just sort of like shows you two main buckets. There's one called a serif font. And I don't know if you guys can see, they have like these little strokes at the end that's attached to the part of each letter. And these serif fonts are more so for like traditional projects like magazines and newspapers. They give a more like classic feel. And then you have sans serif, which literally means without serif. And so they don't have these extra sort of strokes at the ends of their letter. It's a bit more bold and modern. And so you'll see more of these fonts on like your websites or apps because it's just easier to read online. So I know I've been going fast. Do you guys have any questions so far about like brands, logos, design, what it is I actually do?
I have a question. What can you tell us about some of the projects you worked on? Do you find that it's harder to make, you know, or to design the user experience for private companies? Like I'm aware of some companies you worked for. You might want to say more about it. Or is it harder to design something that would be used by like the public, like the Department of Education?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it depends. Like one of my projects that I worked on for the Mellon Foundation, we designed their website, and the type of content that goes on their website doesn't really change. So they really just needed a website that was able to hold a lot of text, a lot of stories, a lot of news articles. And so I'm less thinking about the audience and more so focused on like the type of content that they're going to have on their website. But then on the other hand, I've designed like a portal for the Department of Education for families to be able to apply for school online for their kids. And now you have to really take into consideration like the number of families that are going to be using the product and make sure it's designed in a way that it's accessible across everybody. So not everyone's going to be speaking English as their first language. Not everyone may be like really computer savvy. So just really trying to design it in a way that could communicate to anyone that's going to use the product. And so the process of designing that app was just a lot of testing, a lot of talking to families and seeing kind of like what problems they have, showing them some of the designs that we came up in an early stage to make sure there weren't any confusions, and then just like lots and lots and lots of testing and editing afterwards to make sure it was as good as it could be. I think one thing with design and websites you'll learn is that you might design something in the beginning, but it's never going to be perfect. Like there's always going to be things that need to be changed. And so it's a very iterative process. So you might start with like one design and then over time add on to make it better and better and better. And it all comes back with feedback. So designers love speaking to people because as much feedback as you can get, the better your product can be. Hope that answered your question.
I have a question too. I've seen some websites, like I'm working with an organization to kind of change the website. It's just like too busy.
Yeah.
It's got a whole lot of everything on it. So whatever I'm looking for, I can never find because it's always just so busy.
Yeah.
So is there like a golden rule of developing a website? I know that when I was working and actually doing publications for my agency, we were always told not to use certain fonts like comic type fonts and things like that. And I noticed here you said the same thing in terms of website, but is there some kind of golden rule of what not to do in development of a site?
Yeah, there's like a lot of rules. One of the rules in terms of like content organization is that you want to try to keep your content organized in like high level buckets. So if you go to, sometimes you go to websites, you'll see like at the top, you'll see like about, what we do, services offered, and maybe like news and events. So one of the best ways to kind of keep your website usable is just to have these clear buckets of what it is that someone can come there and do or learn. And so if you have a really clear navigation at the top, because the navigation is always going to be there, at least someone always knows, okay, if I'm lost on this page, I can always go back to what we do and start from the beginning. So having a clear navigation is like super important. And then from there, you don't want to over like load the website with too much text because people online don't really like read a lot. They skim a ton. So you want to try your best to condense things down into like exactly what you want someone to read and sort of like display it in bullets. Because even as you're looking at this screen, you're gonna gravitate more towards the things that are sort of like briefly listed down than you are going to, want to read some of this text here. So using bullets and like organizing your content like that with like bold headings, so it'll be like who we are and then a couple things about who we are and what we do, so people can quickly just kind of get the gist, because people are really impatient online. They want things done quickly. And then another thing is sort of being careful with like the colors you use. So if you have like, for example, right here, I wouldn't recommend doing this on a website, but this is a presentation, so it's okay. But this is like really bright and it's hard to stare at this for a long time. So you don't want to have such contrast between colors, like a bright red and a bright yellow on your website, because you want people to be able to quickly kind of like to spend time on it. So a lot of websites you'll see have like that white background and black text because that's softer on the eyes and like easier to engage with. So yeah, there's tons of rules. I think it all just really depends on what it is that your website is meant to do, and then working with someone to kind of help you alleviate any burdens that someone coming to your website might have. Okay, so I was thinking that we could just spend some time together designing a quick logo after having that overview. I don't know if you all are is everyone at a computer? If you are, you can go to canva.com. It's www.canva. And when you get there, you should see a screen like this. And once you're there, there should be you don't have to log in. You don't need to log in order to do this. If you want to make an account, you can. But there should be a box that says logo under creative design. Let me actually let me actually do this with you all. So you guys see this logo button? You can click that. Then it should open up a screen, just like a blank paper. And if you're having a hard time with Canva, you can also just like use pen and paper. Okay, cool. And is everyone there? Is anyone still trying to get there? You good? Okay, cool. So the first step in the process is we're going to spend some time trying to just like do some information gathering. And that's what a lot of designers do. We spend time like asking questions and really figuring out what it is, what's your goal, what's your mission, what it is that, who you are. And so with this first step, let's just find 3 words that describe you. So I have some words here, for example, but just think about who you are and think about 3 words that kind of represent you most. You can write it down, you can type it out, you can just think of it. You got your 3 words? Okay. Anybody want to share their words?
I'll share. Mine are friendly, authentic, and talkative.
Perfect. Dom?
I did funny because I'm hilarious, smart, and cool.
Okay. Anybody else?
I did cool, creative, and optimistic.
And I did calm, friendly, and passionate.
Love it. All right, so now that we've got our words, the next step is that we're gonna pick 2 colors. So looking at this screen, I kind of have what different colors mean. And so you can kind of pick 2 colors that kind of match the words that you just thought of.
How would you suggest if I have 2 words, 2 of my words are very different colors and I feel like they may conflict? How would you suggest thinking about that or going about working on a project?
So sometimes when you're designing, you gotta have like your primary color and your secondary colors. You'll have like your main color that you use that's gonna be like the background of your logo, but then you'll have a secondary color that might just be like a small little word you use. So I would say pick one that's gonna be your primary color and pick one that's gonna be a secondary color. And then the secondary color is what you use to kind of like add the glitter to your logo. I think I'm gonna go with, let's see. Okay, so what color did you pick, Tom?
So I'm gonna do purple and pink. Pink being a little moderation of the red.
Where's pink? Where's pink? Pink isn't even on there.
You know, I just feel as though
those are just your favorite colors. She didn't ask me your favorite colors. She said, "What are your colors on this spectrum here?"
I would go with purple and orange.
You can use pink. All right. So now you don't have to use these symbols, but just think of symbols that you feel like represent you. So, and it could be for whatever reason, like, oh, I chose flowers because I like flowers, or the moon because I enjoy sleeping. And then we're gonna take all this and put it together, but I want to show you kind of like a quick example, and then we'll work on one together. So for me, when I was working on this example for the class, I chose creative, free, and modern. And then the colors I chose was purple for creativity and black for modern. And then the symbol I chose was a butterfly for freedom. And then this is the logo that I came up with.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'll share my screen and we can just all work together on a quick Canva one. right, let's see. So if anyone's using the actual app on Canva, you have these sides here that kind of give you the tools that you need to build the logo. So I'll start with text. And then I'm gonna add a subheading, just add it here, and I'm just gonna put my name.
I'm in the wrong place, I think.
What do you see?
Oh, I got it. I'm on logo now. Never mind.
And if you're using pen and paper, you can kind of just start sketching out, putting down some of those words you came up with. If you want to use the whole word, if you want to use like an initial, whatever you need. You can start playing around with it. I'm going to use my phone here for some text.
How do I type?
And you see text
to the left.
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
If you click it, they'll give you like different options that you can use to add to the page. You can add a heading, add a subheading. And then in terms of my symbol, I want to pick a flower. A sunflower.
Where are you picking that from?
So if you go to elements.
Oh, elements.
You can type anything. And there's some free ones, so just try to pick a free one.
Oh man, the one I wanted wasn't free.
Of course.
Of course.
Okay, sunflower. And I don't know if you guys see, but at the top, there's this sort of like toolbar that has the size of the text, bold, font, and if you click the A, text color.
Oh, I was actually going to choose a sunflower, but a different one.
Oh, see? Let's see what you come up with.
Wait, Janae, will you show again when you had the text, when you selected text, how did you go about changing the type of font?
Oh, so when you select the text, if you look at the top, you'll see open.
Oh, okay.
So if you click this.
Oh, can I use this font?
You'll see all the options.
Oh, I'm excited.
And also, if you look, you'll see background. That's how you can change sort of like the background color.
Oh. So how do I get to, you had, where did you find the flower? Under?
Elements.
Elements.
I typed in sunflower.
Okay.
And a lot of the logo design is just about, some people don't make it as, literal, like they'll say, okay, I want to use a sunflower as my design, but instead of actually using the entire flower, they might just take a petal and make a cool shape out of it. We won't do all that now.
When you come up with a design, should you get it registered?
That's a good question. So for branding, yeah, you do want to get your brand registered. But and from there, you're able to kind of use that brand and put it anywhere else you need. So a lot of the clients we work with, they have like their name and their brand registered.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I like mine. Sorry.
I'm trying to move my flower.
It's probably hard if you're on a tablet.
Well, I moved the other one. I just the one I'm choosing now, I think.
It might not be free. Mine wasn't free.
Ah.
At first, the first one I selected, I should say, was not free. I'm sending this to myself so I can share.
Of course.
else to do for mine. Keep it simple.
I sent you my name.
You sent it?
Yeah.
Do you want to share yours? Do you want to present yours?
You can share. If you put mine up, I'll talk about it. I don't mind. Okay. I sent it via text.
See, now you try to see how fancy.
Should I send it to your email?
Oh, this is nice. Yes, and well, just share your screen.
It's on my phone. Okay.
I love it.
So on this, you can do like virtual backgrounds and things like that too.
On Zoom?
Oh no, but yeah, for Zoom, to use on Zoom, I can save it as like a JPEG or something and use that as my
design your own background and then upload it. You can do it. Canva is a great tool for anything. You want to design presentations, logos, flyers. They have a ton of, show you, a ton of options.
Oh wow, this is better than reading a book. I'm gonna be doing.
Wait, it says it's gonna stop your screen sharing, Janelle.
That's fine. Then I'll reshare.
Okay. This is the image I created. This is my logo. And this was so fun. I ended up changing my colors, so I'm a hypocrite. But I felt drawn to this piece because the logo, and I don't know, Jeanette, if this is just bad practice, but the logo really spoke to me. So it took the words out of my mind. It felt like, I was like, I could do something around the image. But I don't know if you should not, because, my mom had this shower curtain once and she redid her bathroom around the shower curtain. So I don't know if that's like bad practice.
There's no such thing as bad practice to like what you get inspiration from.
It's like getting shoes and then you gotta go find an outfit.
Yes, that's me. So I really like this activity.
Was that logo already there?
Yes, and it wasn't the one that I was originally going to go with. The one that I was originally drawn to, which was a black regular typeface, was not free. So this came up in the next set of elements. I think that one is tab. Yes, elements. Mm-hmm. And so I just used this one instead, but I feel like it works better.
What do you like about the picture?
I like that. Well,
the scale of justice, of course.
I was actually gonna go with the woman PK but the scales of justice probably sound better professionally. I love this image. They say that Lady Liberty is blind justice, so to speak, but we all know just demographically that doesn't always happen. And so I think this image speaks to my approach to my profession in the law, and truly seeking equitable relief for all people in all spaces. And I love the image. Of course, it also speaks to the wonderful Florida State University, of which I'm an alum. And so
How does it speak to Florida State?
To me, the woman, this is garnet and gold.
The colors.
The colors.
You made Clarinda happy.
Yes.
Go knows.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I did have a question. Are you able to change the color of the female?
Oh, Janelle, can I do that? Can I make a black African-American?
You probably can, yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Oh, I can.
Oh, show the new.
It doesn't look as good.
Let's see it.
I'll have to give me a moment to share the image from one device to another.
I didn't turn out so good. What font is that you're using on there?
I copied Jeanette. Amsterdam 4.
It's just script. Yeah, why is it that you chose script?
I chose that script because it just makes me think about my monogram, and I love the modern, sleek nature of it. It seems like it goes with the image. It doesn't exactly mirror my signature, but it's close enough for it that it's still kind of playful. So I think just it completed the package, so to speak. And it was black originally. I think all of the text is automatically black, but I changed it to gold because of the Oh no, all of the text is not automatically black. Actually, the first text I selected was pink because again, I was going with my original thought. I was stuck in that bubble, pink and purple. And so I had this like pink neon 80s glow text, but it threw it off. It was too busy, like Janae was saying earlier in the presentation. Like you don't want something that's too busy.
So did we see your new logo?
And no, I'm working on that right now. I'm sending it over.
I'm gonna use this, work on this. Mine didn't do too well. I need a little remedial training.
Yeah.
Mine is cute. I just want to move my flower and I can't. I'm not gonna say I can't. I'm challenged right now with that.
A little more time.
I mean, designers spend weeks on a single logo. Rounds, they probably do about like 4 or 5 rounds before you get to like a final design that everyone's happy with.
Okay.
This is very, very speed rushed.
I want to show mine.
Okay.
It's not great, but I'm on a different device. Let me see if I can.
Dominique needs to stop sharing.
Well, no, it's not. I'm gonna turn mine around because I'm not on the same device, so I can't share it.
But we just learned you can do it without.
Oh shoot, I forgot. Go ahead, Mom. You can share yours now.
I'm just gonna turn mine around.
Your camera. Yeah.
The show because I can't. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
Did it on the iPad?
No, she's not zooming.
Oh wait, let me move.
Oh, I like that.
That's nice.
Oh, I love it. Can you talk about it?
But I want to trace my name in black.
We have some.
So I have to work on it some more. But this is so cool.
Wait, Mom, will you share what made you select that background?
The background just. Who are you? You're not the teacher.
I'm not. I'm the teacher aide.
The teacher.
You need the teacher's aid. Anyway, no, the colors, the pink. First I chose my background, and then I went back and chose my font. And the font was, I tried several to find the one that worked best with the background, because the background to me is very relaxing, but the colors are vibrant, so it gives you energy. Although it's relaxing, it's like a calming type of energy.
That's nice. And then I'm one of the women in this group asked to see the modified version of mine. This is now the black. This is as close as they let you get it with black versus the one that had formerly.
The color of the person, you just changed the color of the clothes.
That's what I was saying. That's all it lets you do for black when you select black.
Oh, okay.
Probably the tool.
Yeah, probably pro.
So it looks better with the gold.
Thank you, Janelle. You taught me something.
I hope you guys have fun and just learn.
Are we done?
Yeah.
So wait, so now I have my logo and I love it and I want to do something with it. Do I just download it?
Yeah, you just download it. You should be able to, you'll see like the arrow, and you can just download it and save it.
Cool.
Put it wherever you want.
Cool.
Yay.
Thank you, Janelle. That was great.
No problem. I have fun. Let me see.
Back to you, Madam Chair.
All right.
Sonia.
Can you hear me? Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So it brings our program to a conclusion for this afternoon. Of all presenters for the 4th Annual Virtual STEAM Showcase. I'd like to thank you all for participating. And if there are no further closing remarks, we can sign out.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity.
I enjoyed it.
All right.
Yes, absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.